some of our concern at the Lancaster Patriot is what are those foundations and those values that our nation was founded on, that you have, court cases like this where they're appealing to the Ten Commandments. You have so much of that in American history, and concern is that's slipping away, and we get to the point where, well, it doesn't really matter about integrity and justice and fairness. All that matters is we got to prevent this guy from getting in office, and we got to prevent that. And so then it just becomes a free-for-all when you abandon, a fair weight, a fair measure. So that's I think a big issue here, and I think people are missing the point of that and just seeing this as a partisan thing. And I think it's more about, are we going to have a just weight and measure in Lancaster County?
I think, look, there are candidates, and I won't name them throughout history, even recently, and maybe even coming up in the future, that I would not want to see in office. I think it would just be horrible for our state, our country, what have you. But as I said earlier, we put a system in place that has worked for so long that is unlike anything else in the world. Why do we want to throw that away now? We need judges and the legislators to follow the law and think about the things that we're talking about here now, the things that we're talking about 250 years ago. We need to get back to that. If we get back to that, then our republic will surely survive and thrive. But we're not going to be able to do that if people are questioning what's going on. Like Commissioner Parsons said, we want to have faith in the system that when the loser loses, that it lost fair and square, and that there's another day, and we'll get through this. We've had people we didn't want in office as one party or another throughout history. That happens, but we need to move forward. The way we're going to do that is to have veracity, integrity, and transparency in our election system. And we're going to do everything and I want to assure voters of Lancaster County, we take that seriously if they haven't gotten that by now, and that filters down into not just what we do, but how we do it.
Right. And that was a big issue at the meeting. We want secure elections, but we also need convenience. And I know you spoke about that. You reiterated a comment that was made from someone in the public saying, well, we can't sacrifice integrity for convenience. And I mean, on all the other things, I mean, you're following the Constitution, Act 77, the Constitution calls for in-person voting, but on top of that, now you have these matters where the law doesn't require you to have a mail-in ballot drop box. You're required now to take all these mail-in ballots, but you're trying to do, if I understand correctly, everything you can to not sacrifice integrity. I mean, the convenience has really already been given with Act 77. I mean, I guess you could say it's more convenient than ever in the history of Pennsylvania to vote.
Right. And
whether or not that should remain that way, I guess it's up to the legislators. But you don't want to sacrifice that integrity for convenience.
No, and as a previous PA Supreme Court says, laudable as it is, look, we all want people to vote. I mean, that's America, right? It's the promise of America. Everybody has a right to vote. We want people to vote. When we see high voter turnout, wonderful. We're all happy. Both sides should be happy that happens. But again, you don't want to have convenience for the sake of integrity at the degradation of integrity, because then it could be all for naught for all those people voting if they have questions about it. So yeah, we can have convenience. There's nobody saying that we don't want more people to vote. We want people to come out to vote, obviously. But it's the how. We have to have that conversation. And as laudable as it was for the legislature to adopt, and I'm almost quoting the PA Supreme Court for many years ago, as laudable as it is to do some of these things, they need to think about these things and work with election directors. It should not be lost on anyone that between a third and half of elections directors in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania quit, left their jobs since the election of 2020 when Act 77 was implemented. That needs to tell someone something. Let's take a step back. Let's take a look at what we learned and move forward. We can do this.